The Bible was believed and not corrected. Sinners got saved by grace. Converts were converted. And the gospel was preached and not hid. I like the old paths when is the way that is entitled. Now there's a lot of questions being asked about what is the future of America. I've just jotted down a few things that I would like to share today, if I can find these. I do have them in my notes here. But before I do that, one wise writer once wrote, "Had not God singled out a handful of individuals in each century who could help reverse the inevitable degeneracy in the heart of men, America by now might have died as a major nation." Perry Stone stated on national television several weeks back, and he was speaking of the English movement that come to this continent 402 years ago. 1607 at Jamestown, the English settlement was entered into Jamestown there. I was there just a few days ago up in Jamestown. But here's what Perry Stone said about the English settlement and movement, of which America has become the fruit of that. He said that settlement peaked in 2007. He said it is now reversed and it is headed downward, and it will never again come back to the place that it was. He said China will be the next superpower of the world, and America will cease to be a superpower someday. That is a pretty strong statement. A.N. Trotter, that was one of the founders, the old men in the Assemblies of God Church, almost a half a century ago, he made the statement, he said, "We have lost it," to his colleagues, his other minister friends, and they asked him, what did he mean? "We have lost it. What do you mean, Brother Trotter?" And he said, "Too much of the world and not enough of God." Now, they thought he was just an old preacher with old convictions, and he was doing no harm and it would be okay, so they overlooked him. But over the last few decades, they have begun to wonder, was he on the right track? On June the 25th, I would like to read to you what I took off of Billy Graham's website. I followed Billy's ministry for many years, and he's been preaching the gospel over 70 years, either in person, and now his ministry is carried on by his son Franklin, and they carry on his ministry by a lot of the past things that he's done. But I believe that this is one of the strongest statements I have ever heard Billy Graham make concerning the Church of Jesus Christ. And I would like to read to you what he said. He said, "There are results in a national collapse and sometimes worldwide calamity." He said, "We are headed for one of those collapses at the present hour." He also said, "Today, when the church should be leading the way out of darkness, the darkness that covers the earth," he said, "it is obvious that we're unable to do so because of our spiritual impotence and lack of knowledge." He went on to say, "The church today stands sadly in the midst of the ever-increasing ruins of a civilization. The church," he said, "itself helped to create, but seemingly has little power or even desire to save." It's a pretty strong statement from one of the most respected men in all the history of the world. That was on June the 25th of this year. That was on his website. Now I want to tell you something else that happened on June the 25th. Two things. June the 25th, 1962 was the day that I entered into public work full time. Oh, I worked a couple years prior to that part-time finishing high school, But on June the 25th, 1962, I entered public work. Also on June the 25th, in 1962, our government removed prayer from school. The Constitution starts out this way: we the people. And some are asking of the phrase, we the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. Some are asking, is that slipping away? Are we losing that? Some are asking the question, are we headed for a socialist society in America? When government control takes over, usually following, if you follow the history of the world, government oppression takes over, and people are put in awkward situations, and it can be the downfall of a democracy. Well, where are we headed? What's wrong in America? Why are our prisons overfilling and our churches empty? Why are churches dying in America and have been year after year for the last several years? We come to church and we don't like to talk about negative things. We like to shun the negative, and we like to talk about our spiritual relations, if that's what it is. What is the problem in this world? Why is there demoralization? Why is there immorality? Why is the church losing the strongholds? Why is our country in a downward trend? And why are we seeing things that we're seeing? Just a few days ago on our trip, we also were in Washington, D.C., and we went to the Pentagon building. We didn't go inside, but we went to the parking lot, and there still was evidence of the attack on our country in September 11, 2001, for about a 200-foot stretch down one of the walls of the Pentagon, and we were right there real close to that. I'm surprised they let us that close. The concrete work is finished, but it's still boarded up, for all the windows someday will be replaced. What is going on in America, and what's the future of America? There are Bible prophecy people and predictors, and they say when you study the end-time message of the Bible, you study prophecy, and you look at the superpowers of the world and the ones that are the most influential, many of these scholars would tell you that America is not found anywhere in Scripture in the last day prophecy. Now, the picture today is bleak and it is dim. The predictions are all negative. And the truth is, we have turned away from God, and we need an awakening in this country. Now, you're looking at one that hasn't given up hope. You're looking at one that believes we can have a national awakening and we can have a revival in our churches. Some people say we don't even need a revival in our churches. Some people say this is the church's greatest hour. Well, the reason it is because what we're doing overseas, and because the gospel is going into other nations and we're evangelizing the world. That's the good thing. But the truth is, in America, many churches are dying and closing their doors every week. And who needs to say something's wrong in America? But not is something wrong in America only, but something is wrong in the church of the Lord Jesus Christ. Where did we go wrong? Where did we miss it?